Edge EZX for the LZ0 LM2 22.5 variation of the 3.0 Duramax diesel. I have this in my hands. This is so new that even Edge's website doesn't even show it on their website. I had to buy this from a different site. And speaking of that, I'll go ahead and link the best prices in the description of this video. But here's what we're going to discuss. The warranty. Is it going to affect your warranty? What kind of power levels can we expect? CTS3 Insight gauge, should we get it? Should we not? Emissions, what does this do to emissions? Like I said, this is so new that there's no dyno chart out there. So I had to print out the dyno chart from the LM2 variation. However, we do have some verbiage in here. We're going to break this down. I've got a lot of questions that I answered myself, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions as well. And I'm going to do my best to kind of break out those questions before we have them, but feel free to comment in the wherever you comment on this video. Let me know what questions you have, because the next video that I do is actually installing this on my truck, and then we're going to go and test it out. I don't want to just go straight into install and then test and give you like, oh, here's my 5-minute feel. Yes, it does feel like more power. I want to give a little bit more than that. So in this video, I want to break down, honestly, the most important question is, will this void my warranty? And we're going to go in there. Obviously, I put on there void, kidding, kinda. We're going to break that down. We're going to start off with the overall quality of this unit, in my opinion. This looks like a very well-built unit. I do like the way that this is laid out. This is very clean. It's very clearly explained where it goes. Fuel rail pressure sensor. We've got MAP sensor, mass airflow sensor. Those are the three that they're tapping into for this. Then it also plugs into this box, and it also plugs into the main harness at the airbox. Again, all that will be broken down in the installation video. The instructions are very clear through here. I think the Edge did a very good job with this. Now, as you can see, there's no Insight CTS3. So we're going to actually jump to topic number 3 right off the bat. Why do I not have the Insight CTS3 gauge? Well, I've got Banks gauges, and I absolutely love my Banks iDash Data Pros. So those aren't going anywhere. Now, I can control everything through the app on my phone. So there's an Edge app, super easy. I don't really need a gauge setup. I've got a nice stealth pod with the dual gauges. I'm happy with what I've got. It doesn't block my vision. So we're sticking with that. Now, you, on the other hand, you may want the Insight CTS3. Nothing wrong with that. If you don't have gauges, that's a great option. If I didn't have gauges already, I'd still want to go with the Banks iDash gauges. I just love those. I like the classic gauge feel, the look. It doesn't block my view. So you pick which one you want, and there's no problem either way you go. Let's talk about the power levels. Now, based off the verbiage that I've found, and I had to do some deep research for this, we're looking at max gains of 41 horsepower, 94 foot-pounds of torque. There is no, that I could find, no dyno sheet. However, this is the LM2 variation, and we could see 47 horsepower, 91 foot-pounds of torque. So that tells me that these numbers are pretty close to identical. I mean, we got a little bit more torque out of the LZ0 and a little less horsepower. So with that being said, let's roll over here to level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is for the 2020 to 2022. Now, what I'm looking at is the 2 and 3 area. I think those are 2 really good gains, and they're probably safe. So that's where I'm going to be sticking with. Speaking of safe, let's just jump into warranty right now. The big question of, will this void my warranty? So technically, just putting this in place is not going to immediately void your warranty. But I want to point out one thing, that this is a power-up device. So you're taking an engine vehicle that was designed to have X amount of horsepower and torque, and you're increasing it. In this case, I mean, a 40-something horsepower increase, 94 foot-pounds, that's no slouch. That's a really good gain. So now you're putting added stress on the differential, the transmission, the engine. So absolutely, you got to keep that in mind, that by doing something like this, a power-up device, you are potentially going to cause warranty implications. So what do they say on there? EZX requires no ECM unlocking or flashing, making it easy to remove without a trace for dealer services. I'm not going to go any deeper with that because we're going to leave it just like that. So keep that in mind when you're modifying. That's one thing. So now let's go into emissions. So under normal conditions, we've seen no change in regen frequency, but experience improved throttle response, better turbo spool up, and mileage increases across the board. I believe it, but what I'm noticing here is under normal conditions. What are normal conditions? So if you guys are new to the channel, let me just tell you real quick. I install stuff, I test it out, I give my personal experience with it, and thanks to the Banks iDash gauges that I have, I'm also able to track my regens. I watch my soot level. I'm all over all that stuff. So we're going to be able to see real life results from this Edge unit, how it affects me, how it affects my fuel mileage, and everything in between. So be sure to watch for more videos in the future on that. But I want to go into the actual features of this unit. When I was looking at the LM2 variation, the 2020 to 2022, I found that they had a couple extra options in there that are not listed under these. Now, again, like I said, I went online and Edge itself does not have this unit shown on their website. So I can't tell you exactly what they have on there, but I will say from the LM2 variation to the LZ0, we are missing the tire size, the TPMS sensors, the speed limiter adjustment, and the high idle. So those are 4 things are actually things that I really hope that we can do with this. And what that is basically, I'm assuming I can go into my app and I can say, hey, I've got 35-inch tires on my truck, recalibrate my speedometer. And if that's possible, amazing. TPMS, hey, I installed 35-inch tires and I require higher air pressure. Can you change the pressures that are minimum for the reading on my dash? And then the speed limiter, we know the ZR2s are limited by speed at like 90-something miles an hour. And I know a lot of people want it higher. So that would be a nice benefit for those people. Not me, but for those people. High idle, there's a lot of people that really want high idle, and that's going to be huge. Another bonus on this is the auto stop start. And I saw on a video that Edge actually put out for the installation of this, that you can disable the auto stop start. So every time you start the truck, auto stop start is gone. That's awesome. I also saw something about prior EZX ones where it can remember if you're in sport mode, then when you go to start the truck the next day, it's already in sport mode. So if that's the case, that's going to be awesome. So hopefully this was helpful, answered some questions. If you have more questions, again, comment them down in the comments down below, and I will answer every single one of them that I can. Install goes on next, and then we're going to do some testing with this. And again, I'll share everything I can with you guys. Till next time, see ya.